All right, here we go. Here we go. One of these days I'm going to be perfect. Have not gotten there yet. So great evening. I am the dynamic, daring, one of a kind diva Denise Silas. Excited to have you guys on tonight. Before we get to hear from our guests on tonight, I always love to start off by introducing people to Empowered by DS. A lot of times we have individuals who have never been on an Empowered by DS experience. So, and then it helps us also be able to tell you what's coming up and what's going on with us as well. So I'm going to share my screen and pull this up. Let's see. This is when I always kind of cross my fingers and be like, Lord, let it work like it's supposed to. Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. So welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. We are here every single Tuesday with some type of topic that matters most to women. So who are we with Empowered by DS? Empowered by DS is myself and my amazing two daughters. DS is, of course, Denise Silas. And what we do is we create experiences to help women to be the best version of themselves in their current season of their life. So we do this in various ways. We start off the year always with a vision board party that's a part of our empowerment series. With that vision board party, it is our goal to help women to recapture, realign with the things that they say they want most in life. And so they can get focused on that and understand that there are people who care about what their vision is. And then throughout the year, we have a variety of different empowerment experiences, breakfasts, so that they can stay in tune with that. And then at the end of the year, we do what's called the Vision to Victory celebration. So we have that. Also, and that's more about personal and professional development, helping people to really nurture their gifts and their talents and do it all unapologetically. Then we have what's called Divas, Dinner, and Dialogue. Through conversation, we create community and connection. And we just talk about things that, just half the time we're probably wondering about, but we're just not having conversation about. So we do that in a very fun social setting on a Friday night. We alternate that with an activity, just some fun, whether it's painting, we've had dancing, we've had creating different activities. So it's all about social self-care with that as well. And then, of course, we have our Talk About It Tuesday. It's one of our signature events. But then once a year, we had our very first, this past April, our very first retreat, day away, escape to Nashville. And that's just, we retreated on our way there, giving women the opportunity to kind of reset, relax, and refresh themselves on, once again, the things that's important to them. Coming up in September, we will have our 16th event in memory of my sister, Beatrice Miller, for ovarian cancer awareness, called Feel the Till in Your Hottest Heels. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. In addition to all of those things, we also see our focus is to help women in the area of their faith, their family and relationships, their finances, their fitness and wellness, and then their fun as well. So we host every year a different leadership devotional. This year we're doing Laws of Leadership, and I'm telling you guys, if you've never had the dug into John Maxwell's 21 most powerful minutes of a leader's day as it relates to leaders in the Bible that did it well or didn't do it so well, it has been an amazing. This is probably my 5th time going through this devotional, and in the season that I am now is always different. So you can do devotionals multiple times. So that's what we're doing. We do them on a Sunday evening on particular Sundays. If you are interested in that, all you have to do is text leader back to that number, that 662 number that I send information out with. Also, we have our empowerment box, our subscription box. We just finished and launched for this quarter, Protecting Your Peace. We've had 4 other series: Empower Me, Self-Care Isn't Selfish, Bettering My Best, Focus, and Fabulous. And we'll be launching our new one in just a couple of months for our last quarter of the year. So check us out with that, our subscription box. And then we have, if you're not a part of our Decide community on Facebook, the whole purpose of that group is just giving women a place to be celebrated, not just tolerated, to be able to pour into each other, share great stuff as well. And if they have business, to be able to help us stay in tune with what other people are doing so that we can support each other. Coming up in October, we'll be launching our Adopt a Grandparent. That's our way to give back to our community. We partner with people in the business and partner with individuals throughout, whether they are local here or from other places. And that helps us to bring a gift to over 400 low-income seniors during the holidays. And then I do one-on-one coaching as well as group training as well. So those are all the things that Empower DS does. What's coming up and what's active right now. If you like to travel and just trying to find some great people to travel with, join us. We have our next cruise is July of 2026. We do something pretty much annually, and this will be our 4th Celebration of Life cruise. So you can text back travel to get the details with that as well. Our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue, which is going to be a great conversation, is going to be September 5th. So if you're local to us, we would love for you to join us with that as well. And our focus, of course, September being Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, is for you to wear teal. Our early bird drawing is on the 17th, and our early bird drawing. Our early bird bonus, everybody who registered by the 17th gets an amazing gift from me. So that just kind of helps us with our numbers and know what we're looking at. And then September 23rd is our local Feel the Teal in Your Hottest Heels. So we're going to have a bingo night. We're going to do that. We'll have our annual Feel the Hottest Heels contest and just have some fun as we learn more about how to find a cure and how to identify ovarian cancer as well. So we hope that you will engage with us. These are some of our other speakers for the rest of the month. Next week, we will have Andrea Tony. She's going to share just how she's reclaiming her purpose. You guys, she was in the service, was deployed twice, and just sharing how she has to kind of get herself back into her womanhood as a civilian. And even though you have not gone to the service, I promise you there's a season in your life, if you haven't hit it yet, where you're going to have to reclaim your purpose and re-identify yourself. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And sometimes it's when you change them ages, get a little bit older. That's sometimes a shocker for you, but sometimes it's just ready for something different that you're not being fulfilled. So she's going to touch on bases with that. And then if you know anybody who has a business or trying to understand grants and funding, maybe have a nonprofit, Hannah is for DeSoto County is one of the only grant specialists in the county. So she brings millions and millions and millions of dollars. So she's going to share with us some myths and facts about grants. So we try to give you a variety from your personal business to your personal life, but things where we always sometimes wonder, but don't know how to find the answers. So you can find it here. Check us out, Empowered by DS, our website, and see what's currently happening. You can always check that to know what's going on. And then follow us on all the different platforms. Make sure you join our Decide Tribe. Follow us on Facebook and all the social media platforms that Amani has us on. So you can follow us there. So if you're ever wondering what the information is, and I will tell you, if once you are on our distribution list for the talk, I'll send out once a week information so that you know what the next speaker is. So at any point, if you don't want to hear from me anymore, just put stop. I don't mind. If you don't want to be empowered, I don't care. That's on you. So, but if you do, stay around. Everyone is not going to appeal to you, which is fine. Maybe it's the next one, or you may know somebody else that it can benefit from. So we want to help each other be empowered, right? Even though the topic may not matter to us. So I am excited. I got to turn on this fan. Whoo, y'all. Turn on my fan. So I am excited to hear from today. Introduce you to Pat Maxwell, who's still in my phone. You guys, I met Pat years and years ago. She embroidered some stuff for me, and she is still in my phone at Pat Embroidery, and then her previous last name. So I tell you guys, if however I meet you, that's your last name in my phone. Because in case I don't remember your name, I'm going to always remember what you did, right? So that's how I put people in my phone. So everybody at my church is BMBC Choir, BMBC, BBN, BMBC, so I can find them because I know I met them at Brown Missionary Baptist Church. So we're excited to find out the secret. So before I start going to the slides and come off and they come back on. So excited. Let me highlight you. And did you resend that information to me?
Yeah, the bio.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
emailed.
I was running in the house, y'all. Today's my husband's birthday. So, as a wife, trying to do all things. All things. Yes. There we go. Thank y'all for your patience. I'm excited. Let me spotlight her as I introduce her here. There we go. Welcome everybody. Put in the chat if this is your first time on Empowered by DS experience. So here we go. So Patricia Maxwell is a woman who decided to take control of her health and wellness in her mid-50s. She always wanted to do better, but had difficulty staying focused and consistent. She finally decided she wanted a better quality of life and to live life more abundantly. With sincere praying and a willing spirit, she gathered the courage and discipline to put her thoughts and desires into action. Over the past 8 years, she has slowly and consistently lost weight by making small lifestyle changes. As of today, she has lost a total of, drum roll, 117 pounds, 2 more pounds since last week. It has not been easy, but she stays on track through constant prayer and surrounding herself with positive, supportive, like-minded people. Patricia embraces everything and anything that promotes good health and peace for the body, mind, and spirit. She's written a book sharing her healthy journey during the first 85 pounds loss, and she represents 2 companies that promote healing and plant-based supplements. She's single and lives with her daughter and 91-year-old father. She's still on her healthy journey with plans to lose at least another 40 pounds through a combination of smaller food portions, less meat consumption, and a consistent exercise routine. She plans to pursue her master's degree in health and nutrition with a concentration on gut health in January of 2026. Y'all give it up to Miss Patricia Maxwell all the way from Memphis, Tennessee.
You are so crazy.
I bet you ain't never been introduced like that before.
No, girl, I'm telling you, I don't know how to come behind that.
So I am excited. So let's get this party started. You ready to get this party started?
Yes,
so first of all, I'm gonna show this as we talk, as I asked you the question, I'm gonna show a few pictures. So let's pull this up again. Okay. So first things first, first question. Tell me your lifestyle at the picture on the left. What was you thinking? What was your issues? What was your concerns when you were your pre-pack?
Just thinking about food. I'd literally wake up in the morning thinking about what I'm going to eat today. Not about where I'm going, what I need to do. It was like, what am I going to eat? Everywhere I went, any kind of engagement I was invited to or decided to go to, I just wanted to know what was being served. I was always the one that would take plates home, and whether they ask you to or not. Usually you go somewhere and people will say, okay, well, if anybody wants anything, they can come up and get it. Now I'd be that person to be up there first before they even say. And so it is out of control, just all over the place. And but just always felt overwhelmed and just always felt that just so busy focusing on the 300 something pounds instead of just focusing on just 1 pound. So just always that feeling of being overwhelmed, basically, is what I can think of, and just being really disappointed because you try so many times. I know a lot of people who have been successful, like I have. You still try so many times and you don't make it for whatever reason. So you have all that rolled up into one emotion, and it just kind of hovers over you.
So tell me, have you all your life had an issue with that, or you got to a certain age, all of a sudden you just got out of control?
I don't know. I mean, I can always remember back. I know I've always loved to eat. I mean, I've always loved just to eat everything. It's not just junk food. I mean, just food, period. My mother cooked a lot. My grandparents cooked a lot. So it was like I was always surrounded by food. And I just think, just like some people just draw toward, some people may draw toward cigarettes or drugs or alcohol. My thing was just food. I just always enjoyed eating food, and I think I just made it more of an escape or more of a companion, more so than just for the nutritional value.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. I love that escaping companion. I'm sure others um, can raise their hand on that one. What was the moment or mindset shift that made you decide to focus on being healthy?
Um, just getting tired enough. I think anybody with any type of addictive behavior, you just get to a point where you're just tired and you just realize that, hey, I'm just really out of control here. And like you always hear when people are addicted or whatever, until they admit they are, or until they can see it, then that's when the change will come. And I just believe that one of the most pivotal moments was when I took a trip back in 2015, an airplane flight, and I was the only person that raised their hand for the seat extender, the little
Mm,
extra thing. Because of course, the flight attendants come along, make sure you have your seat belt on, yeah, and not seat belt, what I'm talking about.
right.
And then I was just so embarrassed, but I just went on and raised my hand and said, "Oh, let me go ahead and get it." But when I came back on the flight, I didn't raise my hand. I just said, "I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna hold this seat belt." And when she walked, when the flight attendant walked past me, I'm just gonna say hello and everything is fine. But I was just so embarrassed that I was just the only one. And I think that
Mhm.
really, really planted that seed in me to say, hey, okay, you're the only one that asked for a seat extender on this flight, and you are not going to embarrass yourself and ask for it again. And I just promised myself the next time I take a airplane flight, I'm not going to need that seat extension. And
Mm.
I did not. This past flight I took, I was just fine.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
So that triggered something in you.
yeah,
So I'm
it
going
did.
to go to this next slide here. So my question, how has your definition of what it takes to be healthy or to be at a healthier weight changed since you started your journey,
Well,
just as it relates to food?
yeah, just really having the control of knowledge. I think when you gain the knowledge, when I really started doing a lot of research and studying on just food consumption and the nutritional value, and how many calories you really need to survive during the day, I just started to realize and became aware of we can really survive with so little food. In other words, I just think well, I think most of us do in America. We just take advantage of our food supply and our accessibility to food, and it's just taken advantage of, and it's overrated. And of course, a lot of places we go out to eat, they give you these big portions of food, and until you really, really start focusing on that, you just eat it all. You just don't think about it, But now it's just a total change. When I go out to eat, I really immediately ask for a to-go plate when they bring my food, because I pretty much divide it up right then. I take out some, put it in a to-go box, put it to the side, and I just eat what's left. And it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel more empowering. It gives me a better sense of control. Like the food you see on this plate is fine. It's really all you need. And back in the day, I would eat maybe 3 times this amount. But now I can eat this amount of food and I'm satisfied. I'm full. And years ago, it was like I would just eat, and just till I get miserable, and that's a feeling I just don't like anymore. It's just totally uncomfortable at this point.
I know when we were talking earlier, you mentioned that there's sometimes people think I can't eat something at all. It's just a matter of the portion size. So talk about some of those foods that you still choose to eat where people would think that, oh, I can still eat that. Are there any foods that you can think of that most people would stop eating because they think they can't eat it?
Right. I think fried foods would probably be the first thing that comes in our minds or in a person's mind. Uh, as we know, being in the South, we love everything fried, you know, the fried chicken, the pork chops. I mean, this is goes on and on. But so that's one of the main things I would think that people would say you shouldn't eat. And of course, you should control it for sure. But you can still eat because, calories is calories. Your body is still going to recognize it as being calories. And of course, there's calories that's better for us as opposed to others. But still, when it boils down, it's still calories are calories. And but I would say when I first started my journey, I was really, really trying to deprive myself more so, by staying away from the fried foods. But then I'd have a day I'm just doing so good, but then I'll just have a day I'll just binge because I'm like it's like a rebellious type thing. And I just found myself just going back and forth, yo-yoing because eating, I was doing good maybe 3 or 4 days out the week without the fried foods, but then on the fifth or sixth day, I binge out. So it's like I wasn't progressing at all. And then I was feeling bad when I did that. That's because I didn't have the control. And now I can go days and days without eating fried foods. I'll think about it, but now I can always substitute something else. But the way I work is that if I really think about something, like if I'm thinking about fried foods for 3 or 4 days and that's what I really want, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and eat it because that way I won't try to eat other stuff to try to pacify me and then going back to eating the fried food anyway, because that's what I used to do a lot. I try to find a substitution or, let me eat some baked chicken and thinking that's going to satisfy me, but it doesn't. I end up eating the fried chicken anyway. So, but of course, instead of eating 4 and 5 pieces like I used to, I just eat 1 or 2 pieces and I'm fine.
Awesome. And one of the things I'm sure you agree with, once you start doing those things so drastic, you
Mhm.
can't maintain that. And then
Right,
then when you get back to doing it, then the weight comes back. So trying to figure out different things where you adjust, right? And then
right,
still be able to make that as a lifestyle change versus just I did something for 30 days. Because I would see people work out, see people do this drastic thing, they get all skinny. I see them a month later, be like, oh Lord, like what happened? Because they went back to
right,
what they did versus doing adjustments and making it more of a long-term change than
right.
a shorter change. Um, what healthy habits? I know you said you were fond of this one picture of your stir fry. So what healthy habits have you been most impactful in helping you keep the weight off long term?
Well, just embracing more foods. It's a lot of foods I didn't eat on a regular basis, like just like this stir fry, for example. I didn't eat a lot of peppers and onions and things like that in my food, and or add, ginger and turmeric and seasonings like that. So, and just being open minded to it. A lot of people just don't even want to try different things, or I don't like water. And then when you sort of suggest how you can spruce up your water, they're just closed minded about it. So I think, first you have to be open minded enough to try different things and then just do your research and see what it is that provides this type of nutrient or minerals or whatever, and then lean toward those. But just having an open mind about trying different things, different textures, and like this stir fry here, I just like it because it's colorful, and I just like it because it has a lot of different things in it, and you can put pretty much anything in it, any kind of vegetable in it, and it still tastes good. And of course, the seasoning makes a big difference too. So I just try different things, different seasonings, different vegetables. Sometimes I may take out a vegetable too to see how it's going to taste without it, and just kind of go from there.
What some of the new vegetables that you incorporated that made a difference?
I would say the mushrooms make a big difference to me. And then adding like smoked turkey necks or smoked anything smoked, just turkey. I pretty much just stick with turkey most of the time, and it just adds a nice flavor to it. And I have a different seasoning I bought at Whole Foods. It just has a lot of different seasons like paprika and rosemary, and those are fragrances. I mean, not fragrances, but those are seasonings that I just never thought of using before. So now I just seek out different seasonings to use to help entice the food and give it a different taste.
Okay. What are some of your main foods that you took out of your diet?
Some of the main things that I took out is, I would say pork has been the main, as far as meat source that I've taken out. I used to love chitlins, and they make me gag now if I just think about it. So, so I'd say the chitlins, the pig feet, the pigtails. I mean, my mom used to fix those things. They kind of irked me back then, but of course, you're a child and you eat what's prepared. But just pretty much that I cut those completely out. I don't eat that at all. Pretty much the only thing I eat pork is basically maybe sausage and maybe a good pork chop every now and then. But I really just try to stay away from it as much as possible. And other than that, sweets is my biggest problem. I'm a recovering sugar addict. So, other people can, after they eat a meal, they can have a cigarette or they can have a cup of tea. I want the sweets. And so that's something I'm really still battling with. I feel as if I can really get a more of a handle on that, I'd really probably be more successful or would lose more weight quicker if I could overcome that. But of course, I've come a long way from it, obviously, but that's still my weakness, I would say. That's something that's hard for me to resist. If somebody even offer it to me, I have a problem sometimes just saying no. So, but the thing I handle that mostly is just stop bringing it in the house. I feel as if we can just stop bringing things home in the house, then that's like half of our problem right there. And then, of course, you just deal with it when you step out. But at least you won't have it calling your name late at night, when you're trying to rest, those Snicker bars get to calling your name. But yeah, but that's, I just haven't really just cut anything completely out except that. Everything else, I would say I've cut down. I would say from 100% maybe down to like 25%. That's kind of like the ratio, a percentage I would put on it. And really like the liquids, the soft drinks, the juices and things like that, I really cut that down. I would say like 20%. If I drink anything other than water, I have to water it down. So if I get the tea or if I get the lemonade or whatever, if I go out to an event, I'll still get some water so I can water it down, because just the impact of the sugar, it just makes me feel different now since I've decreased my sugar intake so much. It makes a difference.
And I'm glad that you can be honest to say, hey, I ain't got it perfect yet. Because I
Yeah,
think sometimes when people see someone like yourself that has made such a drastic impact, they think, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm sure that they is A, B, and C. But the fact that you can say on here, nope, them sweets still be calling my name, and nope, right? Because you got to be honest about that.
yeah,
I always tell people, let me figure out this whole macro stuff. I'm gonna be fine. But until then, I'm still eating my chips. I'm still eating some things I ain't supposed to. But because it's a continuous journey, right? It's been a
it
continuous
is.
journey.
It
Tell us a
really
little
is.
bit about the supplements. I know that you said that you take these supplements. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, well, my main supplements is my Juice Plus products, and girl, there's on the TV. Well, not the sea moss, that's totally separate. But this is like everything. This is like my daily regimen that I take. So that's why I threw in my sea moss and my I don't even see my black seed oil. Well, those two, and then of course the other things are the Juice Plus supplements. The top box is like a energy drink, so to say, but it gives you more energy, clarity, and focus. And then I pretty much start my morning off with a complete shake by Juice Plus. It's a good protein shake because I'm trying to increase my protein. My trainer gets on me all the time by not eating enough, consuming enough protein. So I'm trying to bump that up to 2 or 3 shakes a day. And then the other bottles are my nutrient supplements, which consist of berries, fruit, vegetables, and omega. So all of those are the 4 blends that I take on a daily basis that kind of helps fill the gap in. And that's primarily what Juice Plus does. It bridges the gap between what you eat and what you should eat. Because of course, many of us do not eat the proper amount of servings per day of our fruits and vegetables and berries. It's just so difficult to do it. And Juice Plus offers that to you in an all plant-based form. And then of course the protein shakes has helped too with the filling of your, of course, your protein and other nutrients is in there, minerals. And then sea moss and black seed oil is just a good base supplement that more of like a preventive type of a supplement. A lot of people know about sea moss and the benefits it has. So it's just sort of like I call it like a healthy insurance policy. Something that you just, you pay your insurance every month, you never have an accident, but it's just good to have it in place. And when you do, it makes a big difference. And I think in the long run, that's what pretty much any good supplement will do for you. Because it's not like it's not like you will never get sick. But I just know since COVID has been out and all the other, diseases and illnesses that they're coming up with, I haven't had to deal with any of that. And even when I did get COVID back in 2021, I mean, I only felt bad maybe a day or so. And after that, it was over. So I just think it's just so healthy to be so important to be proactive about things and not wait until you become a diabetic or till you become a person that has high blood pressure, because it's more difficult then. And of course, once you acquire any illness like that, then you're always subject to. It's like, it's like a cut or a wound. You'll always have that compromised spot in your body. So I just always promote being proactive, taking supplements, filling that gap with your nutrients. And so when you do get sick or contract a cold or something, that it won't have you just down where you got to be down and out for 5, 6, 7 days, or some people 2 weeks, so you can get over it pretty quickly.
Gotcha. So let's talk about some physical here. So when you first, I know you said you have a physical routine right now, right? So did you start it immediately? And if you did, was it challenging for you to get started into a physical routine?
I've been really exercising for years and years, but the problem is I never stayed consistent with it. I joined the spa way back in the day. If people can remember the French Riviera spa that used to be over on Cherry Road off American Way. That's how long ago it's been when I joined the gym. Okay. And so I joined it, bought all my little workout clothes. I was so excited. And I worked out for about 2 weeks. And that was it. I just paid all that money. And I don't even know if I even went back or not. So to answer your question, when I really became serious about my health and wellness, which has been about 10 years ago, I didn't start exercising right then, probably because I was just so heavy, and my ankles and joints hurt so bad. So I think I just started doing something on my own when I first started. I remember when I was at work, I used to try to get out and walk on my breaks and things like that, 10, 15 minutes. And that's why I tell people all the time, just getting started is the problem or the challenge for most of us. But if you just walk 10 or 15 minutes every day or every other day, then you're going to build up. And especially if you have your mind made up, of course, it all starts with the mindset anyway. So if you have your mind made up that this is what you're going to do, then it's going to become easier and easier. And then you'll be like, wow, why do I have all this time now? To actually, when I said I didn't have it at first, right? Because that's a lot of people's main problem, not problem, but their main reason or excuse that they don't work out. I don't have time. I don't have an extra hour in my day. But once they change their mindset and their whole mindset and thought pattern changes and you get started, then they'll look back and go like, wow, I didn't think I had that much time. But see, what happens is that when you start exercising and everything starts falling into place better, you'll have more energy and you'll have more focus. So therefore, you'll start working more efficiently. You'll get more things done within this 24 hours, because when we exercise, we still have the same 24 hours in a day that we had when we didn't exercise, right? So it's not like you're getting more time, but you're just making more use of your time. And then, of course, exercise has such other great benefits. It helps promote sleeping better, your whole energy level changes and things like that. So that's what makes it such a good thing to do. People always say, wow, these slim people coming to the gym, you see them working out in their little cute little outfits and everything. But it may not be just because they're trying to lose weight, of course.
Right.
They're doing it because of the way it makes them feel, the way it, helps them to rest, and your whole digestive system and everything just shifts when you start on an exercise routine. And then, of course, it depends on who you're working out with, the type of trainer that you have. I have a wonderful trainer, Mr. Isaac Coleman. He's just really, really just great when it comes to just the knowledge of working out. And then you need to have someone that knows about the structure and the what's the word I'm trying to say? I can't think of, mind blanked out, but it's how you do it. So in other words, I mean, like lifting weights, for example, if you're lifting weights wrong, you will
Right.
injure yourself or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know the technique. I think that's the proper word. You need to know the technique and the in your body. We're supposed to have a slight bend in your knees, or do you need to have you just need to keep your elbows close to your body, things like that. And this is something that you wouldn't normally think about, but when you get with a trainer that's trained and has knowledge in that, it makes all the difference. And so I've seen such a difference in my fitness, in my what do you call it, my fat ratio, body composition. I mean, all of that has changed since I've been working with him. And I just noticed that because of that knowledge and because of that extra push he gives me. Of course, he always pushes beyond that, pushes you where you're trembling, trying to hold up something. But like, oh, yeah, you can do it. And I'm going like, no, I can't.
That encouragement, yes.
So it gets to be a little fun activity, but after the next day, I can really feel the difference in my muscle tone and everything. So it makes a
Yeah,
difference.
you made a couple of points that I want to emphasize. One, a lot of times people think working out is just about a physical impact, but I always tell people I go to work out for my mental wellness, but my body gets a benefit because it just really helps to, just manage through life. And just, I figure the more you sweat and feel like the more stress gets off of you. So being able to just move your body for the reason of not just the physical piece of it, but the mental. And then when you talk about, having a trainer, I look at people sometime at the gym and like, that's supposed to be a bicep curl, but you moving your shoulder too much. Like, so not knowing, one, you can injure yourself, especially somebody starting off, you can injure yourself. And of course, when we injure ourselves, we're less likely to go back, right? So that prevents that. And you want to make sure if I'm putting in the effort, my goal is to have stronger arms, that I'm doing the proper workout. So I'm getting the results I'm looking for. Because when you don't get that, once again, we get discouraged. So being able to have someone who can tell you the right way to do things, because a lot of times, we say we want this result, but we're doing something that has nothing to do with helping us to get to that result. So that combination of, so when you first started working out, did you work out once a week, twice a week? When you got into your rhythm, how frequently, and is it the same currently, or just kind of thinking of that journey? Has it, because sometimes it's like you said, it's hard for people to get started. And so they see you where you at now. Yeah, you go 3 to 5 times a week, but how did you get over the hump of getting started? And then how did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, I really, like I said, when I very first started, my weight was, of course, around, 330 pounds. So I wasn't going to be out there doing any cheerleader moves, right? So, like I said, when I started off with just 10 or 15 minutes a day at work. And then once I joined, I rejoined another spa. And I would say when I first really made up my mind to really be serious about it, I worked out maybe 3 to 4 days a week. And I just pretty much just did treadmill, something that was just simple. I had something I can hold on to while I walked, and that was really important. And after as the weight started coming off, then I started implementing more things. And I was just doing a lot of reading and research to see, what I needed to do, and how many calories I need to burn 1 pound of fat. So after I kind of got that figured out, I just sort of just kind of, I guess, did my routine based on how many calories I can burn, because I was really, really just wanting to see this constant decrease. So after I lost about 30, 35 pounds, and that's when I really, really got more off into the exercise, because then I was just more physically able. So once I, dropped below 300, I was able to just maneuver better. So, but I still stuck with the treadmill. The treadmill was really my main thing. But what I just did was just increase my incline, just changed my incline and did more intermittent walking and things like that. And then I started incorporating the weights into it, just small weights, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, things like that. And that's how I really, really lost the majority of it, like the first 60, 70 pounds, just doing that little routine, because I just started with my trainer this year. So prior to that, I was just pretty much kind of doing my own thing. I do some, get on YouTube. I did that for a while and did some exercises at home and things like that. But just walking has always been my thing. And like you said, it's relaxing. Sometimes I just put on headsets and just get outside and walk up the street, or I used to go to the park and walk. So I think trying to different combinations of things too, I would think would keep a person more inclined to continue, because it's like anything else. You do one thing for so long, then of course you may lose interest in it. And then people have to realize too that once you lose a certain amount of weight, well, I would say I did. I would say when I lost maybe my first 50 pounds, it was like what I was doing then, my body wasn't responding to. I guess because it becomes acclimated to it, and then you just start saying whatever, right? So you have to add on something else. So my something else was just different machines. I started working on the I always forget the name of the machine, but the little stair steps. I started doing that more. Maybe some kickboxing. I think I took a kickboxing class at the spa, and just started doing different things, because what that does, that reignites, of course, your brain, first of all, because now you have a new challenge. And so your body responds to that differently. And people just don't realize that. They don't think that, oh, well, exercise is exercise, but not really. You really have to switch it up. And it's just like any kind of relationship, your marriage or whatever, you have to switch things up sometimes to reignite your entrance or whatever it is that makes you get to the point. Yeah. So yeah, it's just so just keep it different, keep it fun, and just keep it interesting. And now it's a lot of things you can do, this spin cycle, and all this kind of stuff you can do, the heat box. So it's a lot of different ways you can burn fat and calories, and we just have to find out where you fit. And see, like, I divided my weight loss into like a 50-pound increment. So now I'm on my last 50 pounds, right? So I'm now thinking about swimming and, maybe cycling, riding a bike again, things like that, that I didn't think about. It wouldn't have never thought about weighing 300 pounds, right? Because I wasn't about to fall off a bicycle weighing 300. But at least now, if I fall, my impact won't be so heavy. Impact won't be so great. So maybe I won't break, as many bones as I would back then. So, of course, you have to use common sense and just do things that that you can do without really hurting yourself.
A couple of things you said that that I want to emphasize is that the fact that you took enough interest to do research, to
Mm-hmm.
learn, because sometimes we want things to happen so fast. We don't want to inconvenience ourselves to know, taking that interest versus, expecting. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. The second thing I wanted to say is that you were um, you were sold enough on your result that you went and found more answers. Like, so not just taking the interest of learning about the calories and all that, but even finding other options. Like, well, let me try this. Let me try this. So even with this, I think a lot of it is, and not, I don't think, let me not say that. It's not that I don't think, I know. I was bet my last nickel on this one. It's your mindset. I mean, you have to get to a point where you are sold out mentally, and some people get it, I'm not, knocking people at their pace. It's got to be something that triggers you, right? To say enough is enough. That whole, we use that whole saying, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So what is it? For some people, for you, it was the seatbelt. Somebody else may be your health, but you don't want to get to the point where you have something traumatic happens to you and you have to wake up about your health. So praise God, it didn't get you there, but the fact that you are so committed that you say, okay, now it's time for me to do something different because I'm tired of this. But instead of quitting, you say, I'm just going to pivot and adjust. So I think that's very important to point out. And the fact that you understand also, the last thing I would say is the fact that you said, I'm in my last phase. So in looking at if it was 100 and something, let's say, I'm just going to say 200 because I can easily divide 50 by 200. Say that was them 4 phases. Instead of thinking how I'm going to do the 200, it's like, how can I get to the first phase, and then being able to track that, and then, oh yeah, maybe the first phase may have 10 phases in that, but being able to break it down. And I don't think people think enough through that stuff to celebrate your journey, have some places where you can win, some benchmarks through the process as well, and be willing to inconvenience yourself, because who you are today is who you are. In order for you to get to somebody else, it's got to be something out of your comfort zone. It got to be something to stretch. It got to be something that you didn't do before to get you to a place that you've never been before. Right. So it's the stretch of that. So what other challenges would you say that you've had in the journey? Because I'm, like I said, I'm glad you pointing out, well, it wasn't easy, because, sometimes people well, I did this and it just happened. So what are some of the other challenges that you had? If there was others, maybe you have talked about them all, but if there was other challenges, what were some of the things that you would say that you had to push through to keep yourself focused and stay in the game?
Yeah, I would just say basically, I would just say basically, I throw it off. I'm about to call you back. So, excuse me. But yeah, it really pretty much, I just had to come to the conclusion that I couldn't do it on my own. First of all, I wrote in my book how I just had to really just stop and just pray and just ask God for forgiveness. Forgiveness for me, not including him in this plan. It's like, we get out, we get started, we think we know it all, whatever. And that's all we need to do is just stop and ask for help. And I don't think I really just stopped and asked God for help until I just really reached my breaking point, I guess, because I can remember back when I was gaining the weight, as I was approaching 200 pounds, I told myself, okay, you're going to join this spa, you're going to get this weight off you, you're not going to gain any more weight. And within the next 10 years that went by, what did I do? I gained 100 pounds. So that was the first clincher right there. So that let me know, okay, well, you don't know it all. And you don't really know what you're doing, and blah, 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 blah. So I went through that little phase. And then, of course, we had to go through the denial and all the justifications and things like that to get back on track. But just, it just really boils down to just being focused and kind of knowing what you don't want to do or what you don't want to be like. So when my mom started getting sick and started taking so many medications and things like that, that just kind of instilled in me, okay, this is what I don't want. So at some point in times in life, I think we, especially when we get so overwhelmed and when we start trying different things and things are not working out, you don't really know really where to go, or you may not really know what you want, but you do know what you don't want, you see. And so I just started thinking about that more. Okay, so if I don't want this and if I don't want that, this is what I need to do, because I had such a hard time trying to figure out what I do want. So I had to kind of do it in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So once I just started trying to figure out that I didn't want to be a diabetic, that I didn't want to have high blood pressure, I didn't want to have high cholesterol, I didn't want to have heart attack or heart issues. So I had to start aligning myself up with what can I do not to become this.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on what fits. And that's why I call my business Wellness Your Way, because everybody's going to have a different way to look at things. Healthiness may not look the same way to you as it does to me, even though both of us want to be healthy, right? So I had to, and when I talk with people, I have to realize that everybody doesn't think like me, and they may want to go the same direction I'm going to, but I may want to take an airplane and they may want to take a bus, right? So we're gonna both get to New York City, but I may get there a little quicker, and the bus can offer this scenic route, and maybe that's what that person needs.
Mm-hmm.
They need that, but they're still going in that direction. And so that's what I've just learned, to how to just approach this whole thing, because it's so overwhelming. It can be so overwhelming, and because there's so much out there. You hear one thing is good for you, the next week it's not good for you. So we have to channel through all of that. So it just really, you just really have to keep an open mind. I try to keep an open mind about things. I try to use common sense about things. I read a lot of reports and a lot of nutritional data. And you have to understand that when you read about certain things, you have to read where the source is. So if I'm this big company and I'm making money off of a certain product, then yeah, I'm going to say this product is great. I'm going to pump it up. Because
Right.
why? Because when you buy it, I'm getting paid, right? And they're going to pump it up whether it's true or not, right? Because they want your sale. So so stuff like that, you really just have to do research, and just really, I think what really helped me out a lot is that I used to ask myself, okay, is this making sense, what they're telling me? Is what I'm hearing making sense about this particular product, so to say? And a lot of the times when you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. It's only for a targeted concern. And the other day, just, all this infomercials and everything, that's all they talk about is weight loss. They don't really talk about anything else that goes along with that. And how are you going to maintain this weight loss?
Mm-hmm.
So all of that you have to factor in.
Awesome.
I think I answered your question. Did I answer your question?
I think so. Okay. I was saying with any other challenges, and I think you did. So okay. I want to see if people, because I think a couple questions I had was about the tips, but I think you gave some great stuff throughout. But I want to see if anybody has any questions, or was there anything that she said that resonated with you? I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to do that. So you can either put it in the chat, or you can come off mute and ask your question, or you can share it in the chat. Anybody have any question, comment, feedback? If you had to do it all over again, would you get the personal trainer sooner? Because that was a good point that you said you you just got the personal trainer. Would you have gotten the personal trainer sooner?
Yeah. I don't know if I would have gotten it any sooner. Maybe not. Because I did meet a lot of personal trainers in my journey. I think that's a mindset as well. And then I think that's why they call it personal trainer, because it is somebody that you will probably get to know personally, and you're going to be around this person. You're going to be, um, especially like me, I get stretches and things like that. So you have to look and, you have to consider all kind of, um, those type of concerns, and of course, if you want to have that relationship with your personal trainer and being on a consistent basis, it could be, your attitudes don't mix, or your personalities clash or whatever. So I think that's the problem I had in the past with trying to get a personal trainer, was that, and then me not wanting to do it. But if I just had to answer yes or no, I probably would have done better maybe getting a personal trainer back then, but it just wasn't a good fit for me, I guess, at that time.
And one of the things I would say about personal trainers is you got to be ready to be accountable.
Yeah.
Because it's a now I've seen people do personal training in a couple different ways, in a group setting and individual.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the group setting, if the personal training is good, they still give people individual attention. But at the point where you say, I'm ready to be accountable, because then get you a personal trainer, because then you will respond and you won't waste their time nor your time as well. So I think it's a season for it. And if you're at a point where because it may not be that you need a personal trainer, you may need a nutritionist. Mm-hmm. Like it may be different areas. Like, where do you need the help? And there's some personal trainers that have knowledge in nutrition as well. But you got to figure out, like, can you go walk by yourself, but you still eat like crazy? Like, even if you had the personal trainer, are you going to do your food right? So my best friend always says, you can't how do you say it, Karen? You can't outdo your fork. Like, you can't outrun your fork. So even if you go invest the money in the personal trainer, are you still going to do right in the kitchen? So maybe you need to start with the nutritionist versus with the personal trainer, and then incorporate that in. What do you use for your high? Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means? What did you use for your high?
I don't see.
It's what type of did you use nutrition to help regulate your high blood pressure, or do you use nutrition as well as meds? I'm on amlodipine losartan combination pill, and they still really do not work for high blood.
Okay. Well, now I personally don't take any medications for any kind of illness or anything, but I do know that, I don't mean to sound rude, but or be a doctor basher, but I'm not a believer or a firm believer in prescription medicines, because I don't think their purpose is to heal you. They're just to treat you. Unfortunately, doctors go to medical school to learn how to treat us. They don't go to school to learn how to
Not
heal
to
us.
cure us.
And the situation with high blood pressure and diabetes and high cholesterol, all of those illnesses, they are directly linked to what you eat. So, of course, you have to look at that. And then you have to look at your level of exercise as well. Because I've known a lot of people get off of high blood pressure medicine just by losing 20 pounds, and just cutting out or cutting back on a lot of the combination of course, the fried foods, fast foods, processed foods. You have to think about all of that. All of that has an impact on your blood pressure and your your blood sugar, and how your body reacts to it. It's a lot involved, but the basics of it is aligning yourself with a substance that gives you the nutrients and everything that you need. And then, of course, you have to take the approach too, and to be responsible enough to say no to a lot of things, get on some type of exercise regimen. And I just think that's
I go twice a week to chair yoga. exercise, whatever they do, whatever we be doing, some all of it.
I would say before you
Once a
start
week,
messing with your
Mondays and
meds, get with a
Wednesdays.
Yeah.
nutritionist
Yeah.
so that you know what you're, because I had someone who decided that they were losing weight and just stopped taking their medication.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying about, you know, doctors prescribing stuff to just treat us and not cure. So I hear what you're saying about that. But also I know this particular person, we're at a conference, had to go to the emergency room because she stopped taking her
Yeah.
meds
Yeah.
and she had not compensated for it with
Yeah, right.
in her eating and stuff like that. So just make sure that you're with a nutritionist, that you understand what you're doing before you just stop doing what
Right.
doing that. So
Yeah, you
we
can't
have
stop. Yeah, you can't just
Yeah.
stop taking it. But it's like a balance. It's just like those, just like if this is equal, your meds is up here, but you're right here. So you have to do something to kind of gradually bring it up. You can't just, stop taking your meds all the way. But just what I would recommend is that whatever issue that you're having, just find out what type of herbal supplements you can possibly take. They won't interfere with your meds, and then just kind of start incorporating that in. And then, of course, you're going to just have to give it time. It's going to be probably a slow process. So what you'll be doing is really weaning your body off of that, because once you start any kind of prescription medicines, your body normally becomes, addicted to it. And, you may have some kind of withdrawals you may go through depending on what you're taking. But just try to find that balance and just talk to your doctor about it. By me not taking any meds, I was just trying all kind of stuff, because I
didn't have to interfere with it.
yeah, I didn't have to interfere. I just
So at one point, I started. Um, I was on a certain eating regimen,
mm-hmm.
and I actually had stopped taking my medication. My blood pressure was doing well. I had uh, lost a couple of pounds, and I thought I was grown, and kind of changed my eating regimen just a little bit too much, and all that weight I lost, they found their way back home.
Yeah,
Those 10 pounds, yeah.
yeah.
So, and probably more. So Lanita said, did you ever consider other weight loss options like surgery, and what made you not do it? She's personally considering it, but is not sure.
No, I didn't consider any kind of surgery at all, because I did my research on that, and I just decided not to. Um, my particular case, I don't know, I guess I had got to the point that I realized that my particular case was really more so just overeating, just eating all the time. I just snacked all the time. I just always had cookies and stuff with me. So I just felt that if I could just change that, then that would be what I needed to do. I'm not saying surgery shouldn't be done. I think if some people just, what they call morbidly obese or whatever, that may be the best thing for you. It depends. But you have to look at the whole realm of it. I do know people that have had, the stomach stapling and the removing part of the stomach or the intestines and things like that. And to me, that just automatically just sends up a red flag for me, because I just feel as if doing something like that, you're going to have other issues that you're going to have to deal with. They may not be weight related, but there'll still be other issues. So, and I guess I just had the mindset of that. I just didn't want to create another problem trying to get over one problem. I didn't want to create another problem, so to say. So, you just really have to, it's like an individual decision that you're going to have to make, for some surgery and things like that, and what's best for you. If you have any other kind of underlying issues that, but you just have to think about it like this. It's, we all know that you don't, just because you're overweight, it doesn't mean you'll be a diabetic or high blood pressure or have high blood pressure, because, I know a lot of slim, skinny people that are still diabetics and have high blood pressure.
And high blood pressure. Me too.
Yeah. So it is, even though those issues are directly linked to being overweight, because it puts you at a higher risk of getting, or contracting that illness, but not necessarily. So that's why people have to understand that just because they're slim and, they haven't gained any weight since high school and all of this, that's fine too. But, that still doesn't that doesn't make them exempt for being a diabetic. So you just have to look at the whole picture of it. And my thing was that I just felt that I was going to start with me first. Now, if I wasn't successful with it, I may have maybe thought about surgery, maybe, but I just felt that I could do it with the help of God, instead of trying to do it on my own. And then that just worked for me.
And I know a few people who have done well with the surgery stuff. And I know a few people who that weight came right back on because they were not committed to the new lifestyle.
They didn't
So
change the mindset.
definitely it's the mindset again. So definitely I'm doing research on it. I know one friend, she had to go through therapy, like they had to go through a counselor and everything to make sure that her mindset was right, of why she was doing it. I'm not sure about the other people having to do it, but it's definitely something, it's a lifestyle change. It is not a quick fix. So I'm big of not taking anything. Like my journey, I haven't released 100 pounds, but I have released weight and not regained it. But it's because I chose to do something I could maintain. So, and did it over time. I wasn't in a hurry. It didn't have to be 60 days. I wasn't trying to lose 25 pounds. It wasn't crazy. I gave myself like 18 months to get to a place, or a year and a half to get to a place that I wanted to be. So, and learning and paying attention to those things that you do, it's just, it's a lifestyle. It is not I want to fix something right now, right? It's a lifestyle. So, Mary said, you have any insight on menopause, weight gain, or any thoughts on hormone therapy versus changing eating diet naturally?
Well, that's what I'm gonna write a lot about that in my next book. So I'm really doing some research on that. Me personally, I didn't go through any lot of, hormonal changes or, night sweats and all that. I just thank God I didn't experience any of that. I guess
Something to be thankful to. It is.
When I did have a cycle, I guess I used to have them so bad. I guess the Lord said, well, I'm gonna spare her from this menopause stuff. So, but to make a long story short, I do know that there are certain types of foods that you can eat that are supposedly helpful with your premenopausal and menopausal state. So I would just suggest, I don't know that right off, but I would just suggest you just maybe study, do some research on it and find out what you can do to alleviate that is, because just like we all know, or most of us know, God put everything on earth that for us to heal ourselves. So we just have to be obedient and be patient enough for that to occur. And so you would have to find out what herbs or what maybe plant-based supplements, things like that, that would really be helpful. I'll be glad to do some research for you and get back with you on it and let you know about it, because I will be researching that in the near future to include in my next book, because it's really important.
Okay. Sounds good.
Addie says, someone said, you mentioned focusing on gut health in your next degree. Are there any foods we can buy now in the grocery store that will help us with that?
Right now, I would just say, just try to lean more toward just eating as clean as possible. And when I say clean, that means, eliminating the processed foods, or, hot dogs, smoked sausages, um, the liver cheese, goose liver, whatever you want to call it. Anything that's processed, just the word process in itself means is more than one thing, right? So when something is processed, it's a combination of food and byproducts and scraps and stuff they use to make sausage with and things like that. So all of that just has so many filters in it, and it just kind of hangs around in your body. So if you are not detoxing on a regular basis or fasting on a regular basis, then all that stuff just kind of hangs around. And if you research it, it's been known that if people people that don't fast or detox on a regular basis, that has a direct link to even Alzheimer's and dementia. Why is that? Because you're not allowing your body a chance to purge all the dead cells and everything that's in your brain. Over a period of time, it just adds up. And I see that happening, in my parents and my mom, when she passed, it was like so much of that buildup that was in your bodies and in your brains. So it's just a lot involved with it. So we just have to do like little small steps. So just start cutting out certain food groups or really cut them down so that you can really, really give your body a chance to heal itself.
And one thing I would say, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier when you first started talking, looking at the calorie intake versus the calorie that you are releasing. So I'm a big advocate of paying attention when you work out to how many calories are burned. And understanding what I can burn the most calories, what exercise allows me to burn the most calories an hour. So I'm very aware of that. But also is being able to look at, like you said earlier, about your calorie intake. Like, what is the calorie intake for yourself? I remember seeing, what's her name? Oh my gosh. Jada Pinkett Smith saying she eats for fuel, not for fun.
Right.
So when you mentioned earlier about understanding that you don't have to eat the whole plate, but understanding what that looks like, though. So even if you don't know the whole macro breakdown of your proteins versus this versus your carbs, well, do you know at least the maximum amount of calories that you need for your workout routine and where you want to go, where you want to go with your weight goals and all that? So at least start there, and then using something like Fitness Pal to start tracking to see, am I excessively over, so that you have something to monitor with as well. So there is ways that you can like start and be aware. Is it convenient, y'all? No. Let's say that right now. It is not convenient, but the new version of yourself ain't gonna be the same things. They're gonna be simple and easy like you did to create the current version of yourself. So you got to do something that's outside of your comfort zone as well. So tell us about your book, Patricia.
Well, my book, Finding Fitness After 50, I named it that because I was in my mid-50s when I really decided to change the trajectory of my health and wellness. As I stated, I didn't have any health issues or anything. I was just overweight. That's what I always heard when I went to the doctor. Well, everything is fine. You just need to lose some weight. So, but of course, they didn't give me any plans, any guidelines. They just pushed me on out the door and just told me, you're too fat, go on. No, I'm just kidding. But in a nutshell, that's what it was. Prior to my hip surgery, I had to have total hip replacements. And that was one of the main things too, that really, really kind of put some fire up under me to lose weight, because my doctor pretty much told me, in other words, that he wasn't going to operate on me because I was just too big. I was just, he didn't really go into details, but that's pretty much what he said. So within 7 months, I think I had lost like 40, 45 pounds or something like that, and went back. And of course, he was able to do my surgery then. But this book just talks about my journey. When I wrote the book, I had lost just 85 pounds at that time. But I was just ecstatic about it. I had always, I would say prior to 2015, I had always gained weight every year. Like every other holiday, I'd gain 5 or 6 pounds, during the summertime, holidays, my birthday and all of that, I'd gain another 5 or 10 pounds. So it was always a constant gain. So at least in 2015, I didn't gain any weight. I finally got to the point where I stopped gaining. And to kind of get back to the calorie thing, just a little tip for anybody that may not know, it takes approximately 3,500 calories for 1 pound of fat. So if you would just divide that into 7, that means you have 500 calories per day. And that's kind of like one of the first things that I learned to work with. So when I'd go to the gym, I'd make sure I'd burn that 500 calories on that treadmill. Okay. Before I got off, I don't care if I had to walk for 3 hours. I stayed on it till I got that 500 calories burned. And so if you just kind of start with just small steps like that, and after, a period of time, it'll become easier, and you may lose 2 pounds, or you may lose 3 pounds that week. So, but that's a base point for you to start. And so that's kind of what I did. I just took little baby steps. I stopped trying to focus on this 150 pounds I wanted to lose, and just started focusing on 1 pound at a time. And that's what really changed everything for me. And then, of course, I was introduced to Juice Plus products and other products that could help assist me along the way. The Life Wave patches are great. They help with regenerating your stem cells that's already in your body. So that helps you with the healing process. I use that during my surgery time. And then, of course, I've already mentioned the sea moss and the black seed oil, the benefits of those. I just taken those as like health insurance and for the body. And but all of these, it takes a combination, I believe, of things for us to get it right, so to say. It's so many minerals. Like our body needs 120 something minerals, I think. Sea moss offers 92 of those minerals. So you just want to get closer and closer to what it is to reach your optimum health. And that everybody has that point where they can reach. And but of course, everybody's body is different. So you have to, of course, weigh into fact what other illnesses or ailments that you're dealing with. But if you don't have any illnesses, you're not taking any medications for anything. So to me, that's just gives you a free pass to kind of get out here and try different things, of course, within reason. But you want to just research and just find something that sits well with you. That's what I tell people. You have to do things that just sit well. It needs to make sense to you. And that's what kind of helped me, because I was just being bombarded with so much. And when I first started, and a lot of it just wasn't making sense. And I think that kept me from progressing, because I never could find my place. But when you just get out here, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. People are going to try to sell you all kind of stuff. But I aligned myself up with people that were successful with what I was trying to do, not a person that's just trying to sell me something. And like even going to the doctor, for example, I would talk to my doctor about weight loss or whatever, but they were already either slim and trim, or they were already just didn't know. So even though they were a doctor, they still couldn't help me on my journey. So you have to find a space where you fit, and a space where you're comfortable and it makes sense. And then that's something that you'll stick to, and you'll be rewarded for it.
Someone asked a question, what detox products have you used that you found worked as they were meant to? That'd be the last question.
Well, of course, I have my business. One of the product lines that I do have is supplements, sea moss, black seed oil, detox, moringa detox. And I use those, but primarily, even if you don't want to do that, just fasting, intermittent fasting has been really, really helpful for me. And for those who don't know, intermittent fasting is just you select a window of time where you eat. And after that window closes, you don't eat anything solid. You just drink water, maybe drink a cup of tea or something like that. But I fast pretty much 14 hours every day. That includes my sleep time as well. So I think that has really, really helped me maintain my weight loss. And of course, I'm still losing it, but that has really, really helped me maintain. And that, and just replacing my fatty snacks with more fruits and things like that, fruit, raw vegetables, and that just helps as a filler. But as far as detoxing, see that the fast in itself is going to detox you. And then if you're drinking water, maybe put some lemon in it. My regular drink is water, lemon, and I've added cucumber as well during the summer, especially because cucumbers is really hydrating. So when you drink that, it forms gel water in your system, which will help you stay hydrated, and of course helps you stay fuller, filling than it would if you just drink regular water. So it's hard to explain, but once you start drinking it, you'll notice the difference. It'll just feel fuller as opposed to just regular water. But that has really helped me to maintain basically the fasting and then of course the exercising and the strength training really, really helps the overall.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for Patricia, on the intermittent fasting, because I've started that as well, and
Mhm.
I've noticed a difference. I know, Denise, you always say, celebrate the small wins.
Yes.
Right.
So I lost 1 pound
Okay.
in the past.
That's the start.
So
That's a
I've lost
start.
1 pound with intermittent fasting. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it really works and it really helps with a lot of different things with your clarity and everything. So you just have to stay consistent with it. I'm trying to work myself up to that 16/8 where I'm fasting 16 hours. I tried it. It really made me feel better, but I'm just not able to maintain it right now. So I just stick with the 14 because I can really maintain that pretty good. And I just feel as if I just keep pressing, I can get back to that 16/8. But that's where you'll really just see a lot of cleansing. I mean, you're able to clean out your internal organs, your vital organs, and everything. And that's what really makes a difference in you contracting a lot of illnesses.
Yes, I couldn't do the 16/8 either. I had to
Mhm.
change it. That
Yeah,
16/8 is something else, but
yeah, it is.
yes.
It is, but it's doable. I think I just kind of, you know, I just try to recommend people just do it like sporadically, maybe like one day a week or one day a month or whatever. Just get yourself in a little rhythm like that. And then I think that will help. So that's what I'm going to start doing. If I don't just do it, but just one day a month, I mean, that's a sense of accomplishment. And then of course, once you get started on it, you'll increase. You'll just naturally increase because your body will become acclimated to it and everything. So just get started. That's all we have to do is get started.
Right. Right.
That's usually the
Awesome.
hard part.
Awesome. 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 This was very, did you guys find this to be very informative? Give a thumbs up. Give a thumbs up. It was very encouraging. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and sharing. Sometimes I like to bring in people who are experts, as in their field of study. Then I love to give people the opportunity that has a testimony, because then you can see what the real challenge is. You're not talking through theory, you're talking more through experience. And sometimes that's what people need to hear. So, and appreciate your knowledge of the training you did, the research that you've done as well, that you were able to share that as well. So I think we all got something out of today. I put her link tree in the chat. You can find all of her products that she offers through that one link. It's going to take you for everything that she offers. Your telephone number, when you hit that, is on there too as well, right? So yeah, if you grab that, you will grab everything that you need to be able to get in contact with Patricia. She's also in our Facebook page, I believe, as well, in Decide Tribe also. So she is foundable. She's foundable. So thank you guys for getting on tonight. Next week we have Miss Andrea to share with us next week. Tell a friend. And if you, as you are starting your journey, and we need to celebrate you, we would love to celebrate your accomplishments too. So you guys have a fantabulous evening. I appreciate you getting on. And
Thanks,
the
everybody.
video will be available probably in a couple of days. Awesome.
Okay. So the video will be found on your Facebook page.
And on my YouTube channel, Empowered by DS YouTube channel as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome. Y'all have a great rest of the night.
Thanks, everybody.